And that is why I am grateful to you for giving much focus on this very important element of our lives, which is water, or water security. Mr. Clay Epperson, thank you for your message. Mr. Andres Ibarra, of course, Bebet and Dondi, Ms. Mona Gracer, and all of you present here. The media are so essential. I don't have to underscore the importance of media, the tri-media, and also social media, of course. I hope you're all here and would use your platforms, respective platforms, to deal with this very important issue. Magtipid lang tayo ng tubig, maaagapan ng kaunti ang problema. But I'll get to my speech, because if I start not reading my speech, I'll end up here till noontime. So, water is a basic need, yet it is a resource that we have taken for granted. We see pipes just leaking. We take minutes and minutes of shower. We see all the golf courses, which they say do recycled water already. We see so much water. Of an archipelago of 100 million people, where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, land area is 30 million hectares, and how much is the water inland and around us, including our exclusive economic zone? I think it's more than 260 million hectares, but do we actually have a Department of Water? The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources is a bureau under the Department of Agriculture. But we have 30 water agencies. Let's find out what they're doing. LUA and many others, lodged in different departments of government. If you look at our national budget, and I'm going to look into that as a chairman of the Committee on Finance and the chairman of the Committee on Climate Change, I will look at every government agency, how many personnel, how much MOE, how much capital outlay, how much travel, and what are they doing to deliver to our people the basic human right of having clean, potable water. So perhaps the seeming abundance of it, as the earth is composed of 2/3 water, creates a sense of complacency without realizing that all of the world's water, only 0.5% is suitable for human consumption. Again, you are the experts. Dondi, correct me later if I'm wrong with my research. This forum, therefore, is very timely. Para bang nag-usap kami ni Bebet. It's like that we talk to each other, because last Monday, I delivered a privileged speech on water security. And I thought, just like my other climate change related or environmental speeches, I would rise on the floor, my colleagues would be having their own concerns, and I would be ignored, and it would just go to a Senate committee or to the archives. However, it stimulated a discourse among us senators on the various problems and possible interventions to strengthen water security. So that's great. We're bringing it to national attention, and I hope it could be brought to the front pages and talked about online, that it could be viral, so that the issue of water, or the lack of it, or the need of it, or how to rationalize its utilization should be discussed, and this discussion would lead to concrete action both in the private and public sector. We have many statistics on clean water and sanitation, but the USAID estimates that more than 3 million, is that correct, Filipino families still have no access to safe water supply. 337 municipalities. I'm not certain if these figures are actually accurate. Of the 1,634, 337 in the 10 poorest provinces are still waterless. I would like perhaps our LUA, the USAID, our water experts to correct me if I'm wrong, or to update my figures, because actually I think the situation is worse than this. According to the Department of Health, 8 million Filipinos still practice open defecation. In fact, the DOH budget has an allocation for the construction of toilet facilities, especially in rural areas and even in urban areas. According to Senator Villar, who is working with the DOH on the construction of toilet facilities in Paseco, in Tondo, 10,000 families don't have toilet facilities and they're building 5,000 toilets, the DOH. Imagine the impact on Manila Bay, on the city of Manila, on all of us. Water affects our food security, as agriculture accounts for 70 to 85% of our water consumption. But water security is not only about the provision of sufficient water for the needs of our people and our economic activities. It is also about having healthy ecosystems, building resilience to water-related disasters, including storms, floods, and droughts. Extreme weather events, such as intense and more frequent rains, the increasing number of warm or hot days, along with weak resource management, are factors that lead to low water security. A study by the World Resources Institute revealed that the Philippines will likely experience severe water shortage by 2040. Again, while I take this as a fact, as a product of research, I think it's actually worse than that because we're already experiencing severe water shortage. In 2040, while it's within our sight, within our lifetime, we'll see, still, I think it's closer than that. I would like to ring the alarm bell closer to 2017 than 2040. And this is, according to the study, due to the combined impact of rapid population growth and the intensity of climate change. The Philippines ranks 57 out of 167 countries that are highly vulnerable to severe water shortage. And the continued overlapping and fragmented regulation of water supply services in the country by several government entities is one factor that hinders the enactment of a doable and long-term solution to prevent water shortage. Last January 20, and Dondi and Bebet were there, an interagency meeting for the National Water Summit and Roadmap was convened in Malacanang together with Environment Secretary Gina Lopez, Dr. Ernesto Ordonez, convener of Agri-Fisheries Alliance, and representatives from various water agencies. We tried to dissect the issues on water scarcity, water security. Using the Asian Water Development Outlook, Key Dimensions as guide, we identified 7 sectors to focus on: household, urban, agriculture, economic, environmental, resilience, and governance. For each sector, the group identified issues and initial recommendations. In the household sector, among the issues are sewerage problem, high incidence of waterborne diseases, infrastructure deficiencies, the lack of rainwater harvesters, which is so simple. Gawa lang ng sementong rainwater collector. I have it in my home, I have it in my farm, and my water bill is down to half. Because, is it true, we only use 4%, according to Ernie, of all rainwater, and 96% goes to waste. And why would you use water from the tap, which is already treated, to water your garden or your plants or your vegetables when it should be rainwater? Why use treated water to clean your cars or to flush your toilet when you can use rainwater? So I actually have just a low-tech design because I'm not an engineer or an architect, but I have it in my home. And that's what I use to water my liter gulayan at home. And so the management of water supply, flooding, and the contamination of water lines due to drainage problems. Suggested interventions is to provide water treatment for household waste, to enhance the water quality monitoring programs, for regular drainage maintenance, and the strict implementation of ecological solid waste management law. That's at the core of every household RA 9003 And for all of you present here today, especially the media, if you still don't know what it is, and I will not tell you what it is, just research, please. Because that's a law enacted in January 2001, which I wrote in 1998, which should be implemented by every household, which is only implemented actually by maybe 1/3 of our population. That's a segregation of waste at source, recycling, and composting. In the agriculture sector, irrigation efficiency and water pollution, such as pesticide leaching, are among the issues raised. And to address these, we need to develop water-efficient technologies such as crop varieties requiring less water, operationalize river basin management, increase irrigation water productivity, and to improve irrigation governance. For urban water security, challenges include water supply and allocation, flooding, the mixing of sewage water with domestic water. Yuck, right? Initial recommendations include the review of current city plans, providing incentives for investors in urban water collection, the construction of water impoundments and rainwater harvesters, and enhanced water treatment facilities for industries. Just yesterday, I convened the Climate Change Commission with the DILG and the SUCs so that part of the way forward for climate change adaptation and to encourage local governments to do their local climate change action plan would be to implement the 1989 Rainwater Collection Act, which a DPWH should have been implementing all these years, which means every barangay should have a rainwater harvester. It's a no-brainer. It's so simple. With the 3.3 trillion budget, there's no reason why the DPWH and the local governments and every barangay, the 42,036 barangay or the 1,634 local governments can't do it. For the economic sector, issues on ecotourism, industrial waste, and water as an energy source were raised. It is important that we retain or maintain the integrity of our ecotourism spots. We can't just promote beautiful tourism sites and sell our beaches and our pristine lakes and waters to the world and not have sewerage systems and allow them to throw their plastic waste, I hope not human waste, on our beaches and our seas and our rivers and our lakes, whether it's for domestic or international tourism. That's criminal to really destroy our beaches. And Boracay is an example of complete disregard of nature and complete apathy and mismanagement. We just destroyed a crown jewel of our country. In the name of tourism, yes, it provides livelihood, yes, but would it not have been better if it was managed better and correctly from the start by having a complete water infrastructure and implementing solid waste management activities and being strict about water utilization and solid waste segregation at source, recycling, and composting? How many more Boracays are we going to destroy? I hope we are not going to destroy our protected areas, our watersheds, our lakes and rivers, which we are so blessed with. And so it is important that we maintain the integrity of all these natural blessings and gifts. We should implement the water code. We should utilize water also as an energy source by promoting small water turbines along river systems. I know that Secretary Piñol of the DA has launched a solar-powered irrigation system in Mlang, North Cotabato last Friday. I was not able to go, but I think that's the way forward that Secretary Manny is doing for the DA so that he could harness both solar and the water resources. Issues raised in environmental water security include the deterioration of our rivers and lakes. I don't have to explain this. Look what we've done to the Pasig River. An idyllic, beautiful river that crisscrosses the metropolis. What have we done with it? We killed it. What have we done with Manila Bay? It's dead. And despite the continuing mandamus on Manila Bay, because the Oposa, Tony Oposa won when he sued the Philippine government and the agencies of government, yes, we have meetings and meetings and meetings for government agents to implement, and we give them the budget every year. But what are they doing? All these government agencies, Laguna Lake, how is it? So, there's something wrong. You're given a jewel and you destroy it. Why? It's just a lack of discipline, but we have the laws. We have the Clean Water Act, we have the Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, we have the policies in place. It is not an issue that there is no resources. There is so much money in government and in the private sector. And so there is no reason. So there are many issues raised in the environment sector. I mentioned already, solid waste management, mine tailings, sedimentation and erosion, even lack of early warning systems. Last week, Secretary Lopez announced the results of the DNR's mining audit. It is actually appalling to see degraded forests and polluted watersheds because all these years, I'm not saying all, but some mining firms operated in this country. They may have given employment to some, but the cost on our environment is irreparable, and this will affect the employment and livelihood and human survival of our people. So I support what she's doing. Many of those recommended for closure or suspension have caused the destruction of functional watersheds. We can further address challenges in environmental water security by enhancing river health through cleanup activities. But if we clean and clean and clean just that portion of rivers or lakes, but if the source continues to pollute it, it will just end up that way all the time. So it should be holistic and nationwide, the bays and the lakes and the rivers and the seas and the upstream and the downstream. And if every barangay, every sitio or purok even, just implements ESWM and puts its organic waste into compost pits for organic fertilizer, and plastic, bote, lata, recyclables are put in MRF and recycled, where you can actually plant gulay in your backyard gardens, or if you live in a building, just to bring it to an MRF. So all the garbage collector has to do is to collect the latak or the residual waste, and that's all that will go to the environmental sanitary landfill. Mother Waste, Eco Waste Coalition, Mother Earth Foundation, Sonia Mendoza knows this very well. They're implementing it very well. And there are model barangays that actually do it. Barangay Potrero, where I was born in Malabon, won the Clean and Green Award, I think, in Metro Manila, and Barangay Nyogan in Tagaytay, Barangay Sikat in Alfonso, Sonia Mendoza's barangay in Blue Ridge, many. I would encourage Secretary Bebet in her barangay where she lives, or Don Di Alicpala who lives in Valle Verde. You can do it in your village to do it. Or all of you. And if you can't influence your barangay, influence your home. I'm very strict. Visit my office. I have 4 bins, nabubulok, hindi nabubulok, recyclables, latak, food waste. Okay, that's going, but why am I talking about solid waste? Because it's connected to water. Because, anong ugali natin? Tapon dyan pag walang tumiting. Ngayon, hindi na siguro. Medyo stricto na. Tapos, pagdating ng ulan, it will go through our waterways. Why did Ondoy happen? Yes, it was more intense rain. Yes, mas malakas ang ulan, but also because our canals, our esteros, our waterways will clogged with solid waste, including plastic. So we should not even use plastic. We should, when possible, go to the market and to the supermarket, bringing our own recyclable bags. And so To strengthen resilience to water-related disasters, the country needs to evaluate existing programs, even to combat desertification and to prevent flooding, to improve its evacuation strategies and early warning systems and DRR plans. There should be strict water quality monitoring in times of drought, when higher concentrations of harmful compounds are observed, and water impoundments, dams, and other structural facilities must be evaluated. Capacity building activities for indigenous people must likewise be undertaken so they can adapt to water extremes. In the area of water governance, the issue of having over 30, maybe Bebet knows this better, and Dondi, 30 ba? Is it 30? 32? 30? Lodged in various government departments. Meron sa DPWH, LUA. DENR has the MWRB. What are the other water agencies? Much more. Others directly, Office of the President. Dami. Overlapping. I want to meet with all the 30 water agencies. In fact, look at their budget and what are you guys doing? Sorry, the head of LUA is here. Okay. We need to have a national center for water to coordinate everyone's effort. But for the meantime, a steering committee for planning collaborative workshop towards a comprehensive roadmap for water security needs to be established. All these issues and recommendations will be discussed in a national water summit. Hopefully it will happen this year. I'm not the author of this. It's Dr. Ernie Ordonez, another very passionate former cabinet member of the, I think, Ramos administration, who thought about this and brought us together. He just asked me and Gina to support him, Bebet and Dondi, and many others who are passionate about leaving a better place for our children in this world. The main goal is to create an integrated water resource management framework, as well as a short-term, medium-term, long-term strategies and programs for the National Master Plan for Water. In the context of climate change, water management is very crucial. We've witnessed several times how extreme weather events such as stronger rains, storms, have caused massive inundation, claiming lives and destroying livelihoods. Not very long ago, it was in the news, was it 2015 or 2016, when the protesters in Kidapawan staged protests because of the drought, and they were not assisted, they were not given assistance, and they just wanted rice. So we see how because of lack of water or lack of water management, indigenous peoples and very poor rural families are affected when there is much resource in government's coffers. So this bloody dispersal claimed the lives of at least 3 farmers and wounded several others, and even put to jail hundreds of people, but eventually released, including women. So water stress amplified by climate change will create a growing security challenge. Dr. Ordonez succinctly describes the water situation in one of his commentary pieces, and I would like to quote it. He said, "Water significantly affects our lives. When it is everywhere and when it is nowhere, we have serious problems. That is why we need a master plan so we can control water instead of water controlling us." Ang daming tubig, pero walang tubig. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, may problema. Pero ito'y problema na kailangan lutasin at kayang lutasin. It is on this note that I commend the USAID for your partnership with the Philippine government and local governments and the national government agencies for giving due importance to this issue and for crafting, I think you're launching a handbook today, yes, that will guide not only journalists. Is it only for journalists? Maybe for lawmakers, for local governments. Is it just for journalists? No, it's for everybody? Yes. I would like to see that handbook and see how it could guide journalists in reporting, but I hope the handbook will also guide local governments, the national government, policymakers on how to utilize water efficiently. You in media, I belonged to your sphere long, long ago. You have a crucial role to play because you're the opinion makers and you are what creates a scandal or a national policy. So, do you want to create a water scandal? You should. So, people would be scandalized by our water inefficiency and do positive action about it. Understanding the issues and how they affect people's lives, our communities, our economy, and our sustainability would help in effectively promoting awareness and communicating the necessary actions that we must all take. Each of us has the opportunity to make a difference for our future. Whether that difference would be beneficial or detrimental depends on the action we take now. Let us not wait for the well to be dry before we act, because by then it would have been already too late. And so I am grateful that you have asked me to speak before you this morning. I hope I did not bore you. I hope that I have challenged you. I hope that I've inspired you. I hope that I somehow have allowed you to take concrete positive action so that in our little corner of the world, we are able to make a difference. So just remember what Ernie Ordonez said, ang daming tubig pero walang tubig. Bakit? Kaya pag-ingatan natin ang ating tubig, let's be water vigilant and utilize it efficiently and effectively and conserve it, because water is life and the access to potable, clean, accessible water is a basic human right. Thank you very much and good morning.